Hey there, if you are a faith-driven mom trying to build an online business, but you're feeling constantly like you're doing all the things, maybe you're posting, you're learning and consuming content, you're creating content, you're trying to stay consistent, but yet you're not seeing very much growth and you know is possible for you, then this is going to be the video and training that you want to stay tuned for. Because the truth is, you do not have to choose between building a profitable business and keeping God and your family first. We want you to know that you do not have to hustle harder, that you do not have to copy the loudest voices online, and you definitely do not have to build in a way that just leaves you feeling overwhelmed, burned out, or even disconnected from what matters most to you. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to be walking you through 4 biblical principles for your business that are going to help you build in a way that is both profitable but still feels aligned to you so you can grow the income and the impact that God's placed on your heart without sacrificing your faith and your family in the process. But I also wanted us to be clear on this when we talk about sacrificing. So, when you're building your business, you are going to have to take time away from your family and maybe things that you enjoy doing. There you do have to just set aside time and be intentional with your time that okay, this is my business working time and here's when I'm with my family. But when we think about sacrificing, it's meaning that you are not just constantly grinding yourself and working to where everything now you've just made your business an idol, and it's the like first and foremost of everything. We don't want you to compromise those values in order to build your business, because the point is that you build your lifestyle and then you build your business around that. And so we just wanted you to like understand that yes, you're going to have to take time away from your family and things to build your business, but you can choose when and where and how that looks for you. And just find the, I like to say synergy with that, because it's not really a balance. It really, and each day, each week, each season can look different. So as we go into this training, I just want you to keep that in mind. So let's dive in. And before we do that, though, if we have not met yet and you are just getting connected with us, we are Natalie and Janine. We're founders of the Abundance Living Collective, and we help faith-driven mamas build income online with just simple strategic systems that can help you create 5-figure months, like I said, while keeping your faith in your family first. And so this is a message that's actually really personal to us because we know what it feels like to be busy in business. We know what it feels like to be out of alignment in business and to be building where you're not really feeling much momentum in your business. And so we've done where you're posting consistently and constantly, but you're not hearing crickets, where you're watching training after training, become a student, where you're trying to do what works online. Have you ever followed? I remember when I think TikTok came out, I was like trying all the dance trends just to see what could stick. But I wasn't, always doing maybe things that were like who I am and me. And so we want to help you make sure you're also doing things that feel like you. And sometimes, right, you do all these things and you still feel like you're spinning your wheels. So we totally understand where you are. And there have been times where it looked like, you feel like you're doing everything right. You're showing up, you're learning, you're staying consistent, but behind the scenes, you're probably feeling that overwhelm, or you're feeling like, am I doing something wrong? Are you overcomplicating everything? And so this is when, we got to get back into, okay, what really matters? How do we actually build a business? And this is where God really began to show us that activity is not always the same as fruitfulness. And so it's also be mindful of what activity are you doing, and is it where you're supposed to be focused? And so we can be diligent and work with this sense of urgency without falling into the trap of maybe being like this workaholic all the time. And so if that's where you are right now, I want you to know that this video is for you. And we're going to be diving into 4 biblical principles that are going to break this down for you of how you can build your business profitably and while you stay in alignment with who you are and what your goals are. So let's dive in.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Natalie. I'm so excited to share more about this because I'm just so passionate about it. So let's get into it. So, the first biblical principle you need if you want to build a profitable online business God's way is this: choose stewardship over striving. So many moms are stuck in business because they're trying to do too much at once. They're trying to be on every platform, create every kind of content, and really just launch all the things at once, do multiple offers, learn every strategy. You're kind of bouncing around to all the different shiny objects all over that are telling you, do it this way, do it that way. And then somehow doing it all while raising babies, running a home, staying present in their family. And honestly, it's exhausting. And so the truth is that God never called you to strive your way into success. He called you to steward what He's already placed in your hands. Luke 16:10 says, whoever can be trusted with little can be trusted with much. And so that means the question isn't always, God, when will you give me more? Sometimes the better question is, am I being faithful with what I already have? Am I stewarding the audience I already have, the gifts I already have, the time I already have, the message that He's given me, and the opportunity that's already right in front of me? Because a lot of women don't actually need more strategy. What they need is just more simplicity and more focus. And so instead of trying to do 10 things at once, ask yourself, what is my one offer right now? What is my one core message that I'm supposed to be sharing? And what is the one platform that I'm committed to growing right now? You can always add more later. I mean, I definitely believe in multiple streams of income, and I know that we are meant to be a light in many places, but you cannot start them all at one time. And so, what would it look like to be faithful there, where you are now? And that's really where momentum starts. So, the second principle is consistency. Consistency is biblical. A lot of women are waiting to feel more confident, more clear, more ready, more qualified before they really show up. But honestly, confidence is built in the doing. It's something that is really, it doesn't happen by just thinking about it or learning about it. It happens by showing up. And personally, I remember when I first got started in the online space and I was so nervous. I did not have the confidence. I did not know what I was doing, but I really just leaned into taking the next messy step forward. And as I started to do that, and as I continued, the confidence started to come. And the confidence started as I trust that God is going to do this, right? I believe in Him. And then it came to, I believe I'm going to do what it takes to learn, right? And then slowly that turns into, okay, I finally feel confident in what I'm doing because I've done it over and over again. It doesn't come with just reading about confidence. And also I want to relieve you of a little bit of pressure of like, people are not born with confidence. It's not a born trait. It's a trait that has to grow. And so no one feels confident at first. Okay, so just like to give you a little bit of breathing room there to know that just because you don't feel confident doesn't mean you're not called. Because also we know God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. And so keep that in mind. And then also, the biggest reasons that businesses don't grow is not because you're not meant to do that. It's because you're just like most people are just not showing up long enough and consistently enough for people to start to trust you and for you to learn the skills. And so I know like we have talked about like just like the percentages of how many people fail in business in general. I mean, in any industry, and a lot of the reason why is because most of the people are not willing to do what it takes. They're not willing to do the work and they're not willing to keep going when it looks hard because it's always going to get to a point where it looks hard. There's a messy middle for every, I've never heard a success story that was like, yeah, I just like fell into it and it just worked out. That's not usually how it works. So just know that. And then our favorite anchor verse is Galatians 6:9. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. That verse is so powerful in business. And just remembering that that consistency and continuing to show up is biblical because, building online business, obviously, I mean, it can feel discouraging at times. You post something, you pour your heart out in the caption, you share an offer and nobody responds, right? I mean, that happens to everyone. But what if the seed is still in the ground? What if what feels slow is actually God building something sustainable? And also, every time you put out a piece of content, that is a seed. Some people are going to have to see that a little bit more in order to jump into it or in order to trust you. And so remember that consistency is not hustle. Consistency is stewardship. And so if you want to get results, be the kind of woman that is trusted with greater impact by being consistent. And so one of the biggest shifts we made in our own business was realizing this, was showing up even when engagement is low, speaking our message, even when it feels repetitive, and inviting people into what we are doing in our offer, even if you feel nervous about it. And then trusting that that fruit takes time.
Yeah, I love those. And I just feel like as you do that, this leads into principle number three, which is your multiplication. We know God is a God of multiplication. And after that faithfulness, that's where he can begin to multiply what you have, the seed you've put in the ground, that what you are stewarding. And we all know everyone wants, right? What do we want? More followers, more leads, more sales, impact, income. That's, kind of the point when you're thinking about building your business. And I think that that's important because that means you're building something profitable. That means you are, like we said, being faithful with what you have. So we want God to be able to multiply that. And so we love, and I'm sure you guys know the parable of the talents. And so when you look at this from a biblical or from a business lens, right, we can see a huge lesson in that. And so as you're building your business and getting started, especially right before asking for more reach, more growth, more clients, more cash months, because I think often that's what we want to ask for first is like, Lord, bless this, right? And so going back to kind of the questions, and even Janine touched on this at the beginning, is, am I serving the people already in front of me? I love this. I had a mentor one time ask, like, where's your field of favor and who are you called to love? And I thought that's such a great way to think about it because your field of favor, like what platform are you supposed to start on? Like, where are your people at now that you can be serving? And then who are you meant to love? Like, there's certain people for you that are going to resonate with you and your message. And so continuing to try and show up mostly as your authentic self as possible, because it can be a little scary at first to show all the sides of you, but to like be that woman that you already are. When you're rooted in your identity, you can start being that. And so it's asking and just that having that mindset shift of like, who am I serving? Am I serving the people already in front of me? Am I following up with the leads I already have? I mean, that's a huge one. So many people won't follow up. And I've talked to so many leaders and women who they're like, I got started with this because someone was willing to talk to me 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times to help them understand, to help them learn what they needed to so that they could make the best decision. So if you just share it with somebody and then you think, oh, they'll reach back out to me, most of the time it's you needing to follow up. It's you needing to circle back, whether it's through your emails, whether it's through, a personal message to them, and through also, right, your content is a way to help people keep seeing what you have. And then am I actually promoting and sharing the offer consistently? We mentioned earlier, like being repetitive. Sometimes you might feel like a broken record, but it's important because people need to see and hear about it multiple times in multiple ways. And just think about when you're shopping, how often did you see that dress before you finally decided to buy it? Okay. So it's kind of that same way. And then are you nurturing trust with the audience already watching? So we can't expect that, oh, if I just go out and I put up one video, like they should want to buy from me. It's people do buy from who they know, like, and trust. They join, they partner, they get mentorship from people they feel like are like them and that they can trust to lead them and, to where they want to go. And so that's going to be important for your journey as well. And so many of us, right, we in women are praying for that visibility, which we want to have visibility, especially because we believe you are to be a light in the marketplace. Like the social media can be your mission field and can be a way for you to have so much impact beyond just selling a product or service. But we don't want to ignore the people who might already be paying attention to you. and think that, oh, there's got to be more and bigger and better out there. I just think about like Jesus, right? He went to the people who were willing to listen to him. And the people who came to him is who he preached to, right? So he didn't force any type of conversation that wasn't meant to happen. And so just remember that's not, condemnation on us for, asking for more visibility, but it's just a conviction of like just knowing what's going to be aligned and like where God has you and stewarding that season that you're in as you're continuing to grow and develop skills so that, like we said earlier, you can be trusted with more, right? And being faithful by being faithful where you are. So it's about honoring the people in front of you, serving well, showing up well, building trust. And that's where the multiplication is going to happen. The seeds are going to start sprouting. And when you have the root. And so then the last principle is build systems that support your season. That's something we're also very passionate about. And systems can look like automation, it can look like having a rhythm in your day, just so many things that can help you that are acting as tools to help you be able to build a business that fits your season you're in right now versus fighting against it and trying to force anything and everything to happen. So let's talk about that for a second because there's going to be so many online business strategies we mentioned. Everybody's kind of coming out and saying, do this, here's what's right, here's what's wrong. And you're like, which one do I do? Right. But not everybody. And there was a point I had to actually come online one time and I said, I have to apologize to all my mom friends because there was a time where I was coaching women and I didn't have kids, but I worked full time as a teacher. And so I was teaching how I was building my business around working full time and being gone, 8 hours a day essentially, but not also considering like there's a lot that goes on in the house, even when you're not gone, that just can totally derail your day. And now that I have my own little one, I was like, man, I can totally relate. You show up with so much intention and then it doesn't always work out the way that you plan. And so some people who are maybe teaching certain strategies, they might not have little ones at home. They maybe don't have huge family responsibilities. They don't have maybe limited time windows where they have to make it work in like 30 minutes here and 30 minutes there. And they just, not everybody has the same priorities, right, as you do. So if you've ever felt like, why can't I keep up? That might be why. And so it's important again, why, it does matter who you're listening to and who you're following and are they in a similar season? That's why Jenny and I, like the mentors that we follow and work with, it's always like there's got to be that alignment and that they understand where we are at. So we can replicate, what they're teaching as well. And so that's what we hope by you following us, why you getting our trainings, that it's going to help you be able to relate to where you're at in life and in motherhood. Because Janine has, 5 boys, 4 still at home with her. She homeschools. Like, so we understand kind of where you're at and the tasks that you are undertaking every day as a wife, as a mom, and then also trying to build a business around that. So we want you to know that you're not called to build a business by copying everyone else's strategy or capacity. Okay. And so putting those systems in your actual life, and it starts with you knowing your vision and what it is like you're feeling called to and what you want. So we love Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision, make it plain. One of the things Janine has even shared, and we teach the people we work with, is like even writing out your perfect day and knowing what does that look like for you? What does life look like? How can you build your life and know, okay, here's my priorities, your health, your kids, right? What does it look like for finances, your time with your husband? What does that all look like? And then, okay, well, where do I fit my business around that? But making it a non-negotiable that you do build your business around that. And so if you're a faith-driven mom, you do not need a business model that demands 12-hour workdays, constant, content chaos, or always being on all the time. You need a simple daily routine, a repeatable content strategy. You want a clear pathway to your offer, and then boundaries that are going to protect the piece that you need and want. Okay. And so this is honestly the biggest things and that we will teach you, because a lot of moms, they don't need more motivation. We know that you're very probably like us. You're pretty ambitious, pretty self-motivated, but what you need is to figure out what are the pieces to put in place so that you can have a simple rhythm and actually sustain that so that you can be the one that, 10 years from now, you're still here, like Janine and I. And so that's why we've created a free resource for you that is going to specifically help you with your daily routine. That's for the faith-driven mom who's building income online so that you can make progress in your business and without feeling like it's taking over your whole life. Because again, we want you to be profitable, but still keep your faith in your family first. So make sure you drop routine or grab it in the description so that you can get access to that right away. And then we want to leave you with some practical tips and things that you can take away from this and start implementing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest thing is you can learn and get on all the trainings, but if you don't apply them, you're not going to get anywhere. So what can you be doing this week? Let's make this super practical. So if you're watching this and thinking, okay, I needed this, but where do I start? Here are three simple things that I want you to do this week. The first is simplify your business. Ask yourself, what is my one offer right now? What is my main message? And what is the one platform that I'm focusing on? Stop scattering your energy all over. Just focus in on one thing and one thing only to get you started. The second thing is to create three intentional pieces of content. So this week, post one post that speaks to your ideal client's pain point, one personal story that builds trust. And one thing I want to share about this is, make sure that when you're stepping out and you're sharing your story, be vulnerable, but make sure that you're sharing from a scar, not an open wound. So make sure that you're sharing something that you have overcome, not something you are currently going through. And then one invitation post that clearly points to your offer, not random, but like just really strategic content. And then the third thing is to create a faith first work rhythm. So before you post, pray. Before you create, ask God what your audience needs. Then spend some focused time on the income producing activities and not just busy work. So that means creating content. That means starting conversations. That's following up, making the offer, and just really serving people well. Because remember, busy does not mean fruitful. And it's really easy to get caught up and distracted. And, you just pray off against and bind up the spirit of distraction and make sure that you are staying focused on what you're supposed to be doing. And if content creation is the area where you feel the most overwhelmed and you know that you need to build more visibility, influence, and trust online, but you're not always sure what to say or how to create content that really converts, then that is exactly why we created our abundance influence method and social media playbook. It's really our simple strategy to help more faith-driven moms to build authority online, position themselves the right way, create that content with intention, and stop posting just to post or just posting and praying. So, if you know content and positioning is your next growth area, then we'll link that below too, and you'll get the opportunity to access this after you download the daily routine guide as well.
Yeah, so we hope you grab those. And then we just, as we wrap up here, we just want you to remember like, you do not need to hustle harder to prove your calling. We know that you are excited and passionate about what you're doing. You want to make a difference for your family. And so just know that you can, and we're here to support you and cheer you on along the way. And we want to partner with you in your faith and business and help you. So just continue moving forward and taking these steps, like she said, implement them and just walk in obedience, stewardship, consistency, and then have faith for what you're doing, what God's called you to, and where you're at right now, and just continuing to take, one foot in front of the other. So if this video encouraged you, go and subscribe, follow, depending on what platform that you're on. We'd love to continue connecting with you. And because we're going to be sharing more faith first business strategies for moms building income online. Comment below too and tell us which of those 4 principles hit you the hardest and what you're going to be implementing this week. And then most importantly, yeah, go grab that guide so that you can get started this week and really implementing things that are going to help you now build your business and start scaling to the 5-figure months that you want. We got to create that foundation first. And so this will give you the simple rhythm to do that without losing yourself in the process. So can't wait to connect with you more, and we'll see you in the next video.